The disappearance of the Beaumont children, Jane, 9, Arnna, 7, and Grant, 4, on January 26, 1966, remains one of Australia's most haunting unsolved cases. The three siblings vanished from Glenelg Beach in Adelaide, South Australia, never to be seen again. Despite extensive investigations, numerous suspects, and countless theories, no concrete answers have ever been found. Let's see. The last known sighting of the Beaumont children. On the morning of January 26, 1966, the Beaumont siblings left their home in Somerton Park to spend the day at Glenelg Beach, just 2 kilometers away. Their mother, Nancy Beaumont, had given them money for lunch and expected them home by noon. When they failed to return, their parents grew concerned. A bus driver confirmed that he had dropped the children off at Glenelg Beach around 10:15 a.m. Multiple eyewitnesses later reported seeing the children playing in the sand, walking near the water, and interacting with an unknown man, described as tall, blonde, and of thin build. What makes this sighting particularly eerie is that the children seemed comfortable with the man, even laughing and playing near him. Witnesses also claimed they saw Jane Beaumont purchasing a meat pie with a £1 note, which puzzled investigators as their mother had only given them coins. This suggests that someone, possibly their abductor, had given them additional money. The alarm bells and initial search efforts. By 3 p.m., when the children still hadn't returned home, Nancy and Jim Beaumont began to panic. They initially assumed the kids had lost track of time or stopped at a friend's house. However, as night fell, they contacted the police. The authorities immediately launched a search, questioning beachgoers and neighbors. Every police officer in Adelaide was put on high alert. Despite extensive efforts, there was no trace of the children, their clothing, or their belongings. The case took a disturbing turn when investigators realized this was not a typical runaway situation. Jane, the eldest, was known for being responsible and protective of her younger siblings. It seemed unlikely she would deliberately keep them out so late. The idea that all three children had willingly vanished became increasingly improbable. The mysterious man in blue. Witnesses consistently described a mysterious man seen playing with the children on the beach. He was estimated to be between 30 and 40 years old, tall, lean, and wearing blue swim trunks. Some reports suggested he had approached the children multiple times, possibly grooming them for abduction. One critical detail that raised suspicions was that Jane appeared to trust him. She was described as shy and protective of her siblings, so the fact that she seemed comfortable in his presence suggested she may have met him before. Investigators theorized that this man may have been watching the children for days or even weeks, building their trust before making his move. Despite extensive efforts, police never identified him, leading to countless speculations about his role in the disappearance. The unsettling letter from Jane. Several months after the children vanished, the Beaumont parents received a disturbing letter. The letter, allegedly written by Jane, claimed that the siblings were safe and living with a kind man. It stated that they were being well cared for, but could not return home. A second letter, apparently from the same person, offered to arrange a meeting so that Nancy and Jim could see their children. However, when police and the family arrived at the designated location, no one showed up. Later analysis suggested that the letters were likely a hoax, possibly written by a cruel prankster. However, they added to the heartbreak of the case and raised disturbing questions about whether someone knew more than they were saying. Theories of a planned abduction. One theory suggests that the Beaumont children were targeted in a premeditated abduction. Some believe the mysterious man had been observing them for weeks, learning their routines and building their trust before making his move. Several witness reports indicated that the children appeared happy and relaxed when they were last seen with the man, which suggests he may have lured them away willingly. If this was a planned abduction, it's possible the children were quickly transported out of the area, making it difficult for authorities to track them. A chilling detail supporting this theory is that Jane had become unusually outgoing in the days leading up to the disappearance. She had told her mother about a man on the beach they had met before. Nancy didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, she wondered if her daughter had unknowingly befriended her future abductor. The sightings of the children after their disappearance. Several witnesses reported seeing children matching the Beaumont siblings' descriptions in various locations days and even weeks after their disappearance. One particularly compelling report came from a woman who who claimed to have seen the children at a gas station, accompanied by a disheveled man. She said Jane appeared to be crying, but was quickly silenced by the man. Another sighting took place at a hotel, where a staff member reported seeing 3 children who looked frightened and were accompanied by an unknown adult. These reports fueled speculation that the children may have been held captive rather than immediately harmed. However, since none of these sightings could be confirmed, they remain one of the many haunting mysteries in the case. The possible connection to serial offenders. Over the years, investigators have explored possible links between the Beaumont children's disappearance and various serial offenders. Given the methodical nature of the crime and the way the children seemed to trust their abductor, many believe a seasoned predator was responsible. One of the most widely discussed suspects was Bevan Spencer von Einem, a convicted murderer known for abducting and torturing young boys in Adelaide during the 1970s and 80s. His crimes bore eerie similarities to the Beaumont case, leading some to suspect he may have been involved. However, he was never formally charged due to a lack of direct evidence. Another possible suspect was Arthur Stanley Brown, a man convicted of killing 2 young sisters in 1970. Brown was physically similar to the mysterious man seen with the Beaumont children, and he had a history of predatory behavior. Some investigators believe he may have been responsible, though there was no direct link to the case. Derek Percy, a notorious child murderer, was also considered a suspect. Percy was in the right age group at the time and had been linked to several child disappearances. However, once again, no conclusive evidence connected him to the Beaumont case. While these men remain prime suspects, the lack of forensic evidence or concrete witness identification means their involvement is purely speculative. The impact on the Beaumont family. Few tragedies in Australian history have had such a devastating impact on a family as the disappearance of the Beaumont children. Jim and Nancy Beaumont's lives were shattered after that fateful day. The couple became reclusive, struggling with the overwhelming grief of losing all 3 of their children at once. The case consumed their lives. They never moved out of their house, hoping their children would return. Each false lead, hoax, and failed police search took a psychological toll on them. As time passed, their marriage began to deteriorate under the weight of the tragedy, though they remained united in their search for answers. Nancy, especially, held on to hope that one day her children might return. However, as years turned into decades, that hope slowly faded. In 2019, at the age of 92, Jim Beaumont passed away, never knowing what happened to his children. Nancy, now elderly, has remained largely private, still waiting for closure that may never come. The case not only destroyed their family, but also forever changed parenting culture in Australia, making parents more cautious about letting children go anywhere unsupervised. The role of the media and public speculation. The disappearance of the Beaumont children quickly became a national obsession. Newspapers, radio stations, and television programs regularly covered the case, ensuring that it remained in the public consciousness for decades. While the media kept the case alive, it also complicated the investigation. The overwhelming attention led to false sightings, hoaxes, and misinformation. People desperate for attention falsely claimed to have seen the children, while others sent fake letters to the Beaumont parents, pretending to be Jane, Arnna, or Grant. Public speculation also led to many conspiracy theories. Some believed the children had been taken by a human trafficking ring, while others suspected they were raised in secret adoption schemes. None of these theories were ever proven. The intense media coverage did help generate leads, but it also created mass confusion. Investigators often found themselves chasing rumors rather than solid evidence, ultimately hindering the search for the truth. The 2013 excavation. Was there a secret burial site? One of the most promising leads in recent years came in 2013, when a witness claimed that the bodies of the Beaumont children might have been buried under a factory in North Plympton, South Australia. The witness, a former employee, stated that his boss had once boasted about being involved in their disappearance and had instructed him to dig a large hole around the time the children vanished. Police conducted an excavation of the site in early 2013, using modern forensic tools to scan for remains. The search generated significant media attention, with many hoping that this would finally provide closure. However, despite intensive digging, no human remains were found. This was not the first time an excavation had been carried out based on potential leads. Over the years, several suspected burial sites had been investigated, but none had yielded any evidence. While the 2013 search provided a moment of hope, it ultimately ended in disappointment. Could the Beaumont children still be alive? One of the most unsettling questions in this case is whether the Beaumont children could have survived beyond the day of their disappearance. If they were abducted and taken to another part of Australia or overseas, is it possible they were raised under new identities and are still alive today? Some investigators have speculated that Jane, the eldest, may have been forced into a new life, while her younger siblings may not have survived. There have been several alleged sightings of people resembling the Beaumont children over the years, but none have been confirmed. DNA testing has been used in recent years to verify potential links to missing children cases, but no conclusive matches have ever been found. If the children were kept alive, it would mean that someone has hidden them for over 5 decades, which seems unlikely. Despite this, some still hold on to the hope that one day, someone will come forward with the truth. Will this mystery ever be solved? The Beaumont case remains one of Australia's longest-running unsolved mysteries. While advancements in forensic science and technology have helped solve many cold cases, the lack of physical evidence in this case has made it difficult to uncover the truth. The biggest challenge is the passage of time. Any potential witnesses or suspects from 1966 would now be in their 80s or 90s, if still alive. If someone was responsible for the crime, they may have taken their secrets to the grave. However, history has shown that even the coldest cases can be solved with new evidence. If police recover any DNA samples, missing records, or confessions, it's possible that we may finally learn the fate of Jane, Arnna, and Grant Beaumont. Until then, the case remains a haunting reminder of how one of the most ordinary days turned into an unimaginable tragedy. The disappearance of the Beaumont children is not just Australia's greatest mystery, but one of the most infamous missing persons cases in the world. Decades later, it still haunts the nation as people continue to wonder what really happened on that fateful January day in 1966. Will we ever know the truth? Maybe. But for now, the case remains one of the most chilling unsolved disappearances of all time. Would you like to add a concluding statement or discuss potential new leads?